9 a.m. here in the mid-state, so you know what time it is. Time for the Sumner County Sports Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition. And joining me behind the scenes is our soon-to-be award-winning producer, Justin Kulik. I am Zach Womble. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and comment on the podcast wherever you may be listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Main Street Preps, me on Twitter at Zach Womble MSP, and the show on Twitter at Sumner Sports Pod. You can also check us out on Facebook at Main Street Preps, the Gallatin News, Hendersonville Standard, and the Portland Sun. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a follow at Main Street Nashville, where you'll find a whole host of videos from Main Street Sports Today with Chris Yao, Mo Patton, and JP Plant, as well as the George Plaster Show, and including our entire library of podcasts, including yours truly. An item of note before we dive into today's show, just a huge thank you to the fans who tune in each and every week. Your support is greatly appreciated and noticed, and I just want to say thank you. One other item before we dive into it, you may have all heard or seen, but we have actually launched our Main Street Media TV app that is available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire Stick. So if you've got either three of those devices, you can download our app, Main Street Media TV, and inside that app, you will find our catalog of shows and events. So top headlines this week, we've got a football rundown from last Friday night. We're going to go over my pick'em column. I'm going to tell you where you need to be on Friday. I'm going to talk about our Friday Night Live show. And joining me this week is Gallatin Green Wave head coach Chad Watson. So there's a lot to get into, but first we're going to take a break. So let's do that real quick. But on the other side, we're going to welcome in Gallatin head coach Chad Watson to the show. And we welcome you back to the Sumner County Sports Podcast with Zach Womble. As I teased you before the break, we were going to get into Chad Watson's interview. He joined me on the Sumner County Sports Podcast earlier today to talk about his team, their Week 1 victory over Mount Juliet, the Blackman game, the support that they've got from Green Wave Nation, and more. So here's what Chad Watson had to say with our interview. We welcome Coach Chad Watson to the show this morning. Coach Watson and his Green Wave are 1-0 following a 28-17 victory over Mount Juliet last week. Chad, thanks so much for taking the time this morning to join us here, especially after I made the claim that your football team would lose by 31 points. So I appreciate you not holding any ill will towards me this morning.
No, it's fine. Anytime we get on here and talk about our guys, we just really been concentrating on us and trying to be the best version of us that we can be. So we try not to put too much attention on stuff like that, honestly.
Sure. On a more serious note, though, you guys came away with a huge victory. I'm curious, though, how did you get your guys to believe this week when so many people maybe try to tell you that the task wasn't possible?
Our kids work hard day in and day out, and like at our practice, and I think we've played some tough competition in the preseason. We played Riverdale. I thought we lined up, competed with them really, really well. We also, the past 2 weeks, we've done nothing but spent time on Mount Juliet, and that's what we were fully preparing for on week 1. We really didn't want to show much in the Jamboree just because we felt like with Mount Juliet playing on a Thursday night that most of their coaching staff would be there on Friday night, and we looked up the crowd and they were. So I think we ran 3 plays on offense that week, and we ran 100% base defense. So we were kind of in for it for the long game. So our kids knew they expected to win on Friday night. That's the way we want them.
Certainly. I feel like you've built up some really nice momentum at Gallatin in the last, calendar year. Winning a playoff game last year, you beat Mount Juliet on Friday night. But I do wonder where Friday night's win ranks for you in your time at Gallatin.
I think it was a really good one. Not really sure. I mean, the playoff win was sweet. That's something that we had talked about all season last year that we wanted to accomplish. Our goal this year, I've told you since the summer's to win a region championship, and that's what we're focused on. But Mount Juliet's over now, and we got a huge test this week with Blackman.
Yeah, we were talking about Portland earlier, and you mentioned against them, you were excited to return to the Wave Yard for week 1. I'm curious, did the crowd bring their A game for the boys?
Yeah, for sure. It was packed and a lot of excitement. It was a cool atmosphere, and they're late in the game when we're on the 2-yard line and we just let the clock run out and the crowd's up clapping with the boys. I thought that was a really, really cool thing for our guys.
And not a lot of fans would stick around for an hour delay, but it sounds like Gallatin was even more rowdy after the hour delay than maybe they were before the start.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what the gate amount was, but I know we had a large crowd. Most of it was packed, and Mount Juliet brought a good crowd too. So I mean, it was a really really cool atmosphere.
And that's a win-win for everybody, right? Whenever you can get two communities to come support everybody, because not only is it good for the boys, but it's, like you said, it's good for the gate. Piggybacking off of that kind of series of questions, with a win, do you expect a large crowd to travel to Blackman with you guys this week?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last year, the struggles that we had in the season, we go down to Smyrna round one, and our crowd is bigger than theirs, and they're an 8-1, 8-2 football team. So yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that Gallatin's going to travel and support our guys.
Surely. Coaches tell reporters all the time that you don't win on Friday nights, right? You win in your prep from Saturday through Thursday. How would you describe last week's practice? Was it the best it had been since maybe spring ball? What was the mood all week in practice?
Some of the things that took place in the Jamboree we weren't happy with. We brought the team in on Sunday and we corrected some things just as far as more or less just attitude adjustment, what is and is not going to be tolerated. And we did a little extra conditioning, and I felt like from Monday on, it was a great week of practice, and our guys are buying into doing the little things right and being a well-coached, disciplined football team.
All right, Coach, last question, looking in the rearview mirror, but you guys rushed for over 400 yards in that win, including Zakayan's near 200-yard performance. What did you see from film study or even, from anything that led you to believe that pounding the rock all game would be the perfect recipe for success?
I just think it starts with our offensive line. We had a really good push from the first snap. I thought our guys did a really good job, and Zakayan had a great night, but I think a lot of it goes to Luke Cook and his decision making and making the right reads. To people in the crowd, it may look like we're just running dive every play, but there's 3 different options that we can go with every single time we're handing the ball off, nearly, unless it's a called run. But I think Luke did a really, really good job not being selfish, handing the ball off and making the right decision, doing what was good for the team. And Zakayan ran hard. Luke ran hard. Jaheim caught cramps and stuff, but, man, he was running through people and running really, really hard. So we're excited about what we accomplished Friday night, and I thought we did a good job moving the football.
Yeah, when you're able to move the football like that at the pace that you did, I mean, why do anything else, right, Coach?
We've worked our passing game, and it's there. But like you said, Friday night, we just felt like that it was working, so why not do it?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Do it until they stop you, right? Okay, that's enough looking in the rearview mirror, because as you know, it's tough moving through the season, and you've got a really tough one this week on the road at Blackman. They have a powerful offense, but I was really scratching my head last week when they scored just 14 points. They rushed for less than 40 yards against Brentwood. I'm curious, did you see that film, and do you try to pick and choose anything that Brentwood did this week in this week's game?
Well, I think yardage wise, I mean, they moved the ball enough to score a lot of points. I think they had 350 yards of offense. I think Brentwood did a really, really good job of kind of containing them in the red zone and bending them by not breaking. But I know that's going to be a point of emphasis for Coach Tygard this week, is finishing drives. We just got to worry about what we can control. I mean, you got a tight end committed to Cal. You got a receiver committed to Mississippi State. And you got another receiver with Tennessee offers and a 6'5" quarterback. So we got our hands full, and our kids know that, but we're not going to shy away from it. We're going to go out and compete and do the best we can do. And hopefully our offense is our greatest ally and keeps the ball away from them, shortens the game a little bit. So that's not any secret that's what we're going to try to do on Friday night.
At least perfectly into my next question. I was going to say, it seems like this game is just a polar opposite of one another. One team's strength is the other team's weakness, one team and vice versa. Like their run game is their weakness. It feels like maybe your secondary is lagging behind it everywhere else. So I'm curious, what does it come down to when that's the case?
I think just eliminating mistakes. Like if we don't put the ball on the ground, I think it's going to be hard for them to get us off the field.
Sure.
And like them, we gotta eliminate explosive plays as much as possible, and they can take the top off of it at any moment in time. But we just got to continue to make them have to snap the ball again.
I don't want to
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I don't want to leave the big boys out on the offensive line. I mean, obviously trench play is so important. It's going to be on Friday night, but it feels like you have been really impressed with that group. I mean, they were young last year. They took their lumps, but it really feels like they've grown into their own this year. Can you just speak to that position group and just the level of success they allow you to have?
I don't think anybody works harder than those guys. Coach Pitts has done a great job. Last year, he inherited a group of guys that never played a snap. Now he's got all those guys coming back, and they know they're not going to get much attention, but they just want to win, and they just want to compete. And I think they fire off the ball really, really hard. And mean, nobody wants to sign up to play that. I mean, it's not fun to defend. In today's football, a lot of people are spreading out, chucking the ball around, and maybe a prettier game, but ultimately toughness is a huge factor, and that's something we're going to rely on.
Absolutely. And sticking with the O-line theme, you guys were able to honor that 1992 offensive line last week.
Yeah.
You'll honor the 30-year state championship team at homecoming. I guess what's it been like for you and the team to be around those guys, and what have you tried to take from that team?
One thing we've done this summer, we've done Tradition Tuesdays where we've had not only just people from the 1992 team, but we've had a couple guys off the team come in and talk to our kids. And just one thing we really want to take pride in is the tradition of Gallatin. And with our community growing and growing, it's not the same way as kids have grown up always living in Gallatin. We've got people that are coming in, so we want to make sure we're educating them. I'm not from here. I've only been here 4 years, but I do consider this my home now. So I need to learn more and more as we're teaching our kids about the tradition and the pride and the things we have, and to be grateful and thankful for, and make sure we're representing and playing the right way. But it was awesome to see the 92 team. Coach Silcox, the coach with us previously, not only this Friday night, they were our honorary captains, but we're going to do that every Friday night, every home game. We'll have somebody off that team will come out with a coin toss with us.
Very cool. I know they like it. I've been talking with those guys for a story that I'm working on, and it's just been a lot of fun, I think, for everybody. So really cool for you guys to do that. Before we let you go, Coach, I do want to talk a little bit of recruiting, because I think it's very important to highlight some of these guys, whether it be Luke Cook, Jaheim Merriweather, whomever. There's some guys getting some really big looks. What can you say about just, their play, whether it be Luke Cook, the Jaheim Merriweathers, the Brinkleys of the world, the Kamari Watkins getting looked at? What can you say about your recruiting class this year and where they're at?
We just tell our guys, like, you go out and perform on Friday night, and I'll take them, I'll take care of your recruiting. I'll clip up their film, do everything. But I think the sky's the limit for Jaheim. I really think he's going to get some more offers here in the next few weeks. Luke is the same way. I know he's got a few offers on the table, Army and Navy. He's got some other FCS schools, but I think his tape from his senior year, I would not be surprised if he didn't slide into like a group of 5 locally, whether it's in MTSU or Western Kentucky. Kamari Watkins has been offered by Eastern Kentucky. He's doing a really, really good job for us. If he would grow another inch or two, and he's still young, his ceiling is much higher. And we tell our guys, like, no matter how good of a high school football player you are, we got to be realistic that the measurables and what you look like is so, so important. And it's not, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it, but we're honest with our kids about it. I think Abe Goolsby is going to be another kid who's going to pop some offers because he's so high academic. He's like a 4.25 GPA. He's 6'3". I mean, he checks the boxes with that. And we got a number of guys that I think are going to fall into being a recruited kid and having scholarship opportunities. But the main thing is we got to get it done in the classroom. We check our grades every Monday. If they're not meeting the criteria that we have, they're going to stay after practice and do rolls. And we had more guys doing that yesterday than I wanted. But we're going to love on our guys. We're going to hold them accountable. And any time that any college coach comes looking for somebody, we're going to make sure we get our film in front of them.
Very good. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you joining us this morning on the Sumner County Sports Show. Best of luck this week. Congratulations on a huge win in week 1. And I know you got some big games coming up, but just, best of luck this week in prep, and good luck on Friday night.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
Yep, you bet. Want to thank Coach Chad Watson for joining us here on the Sumner County Sports Podcast. Very kind of him to take time out of his busy day. I know he's preparing for a huge game on Friday night, so we just really appreciate him taking the time to join us this morning. We are actually going to jump into our second break, but when we come back, we're going to get into all the big topics that we talked about at the earlier show, whether it be the football rundown, my pick'em, where to be Friday night, our Main Street Preps Top 25, and more.
The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps is, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between,
we're going to have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. One area I can help with is if you are newly or nearly retired, or maybe have changed jobs and have an old 401k account. You may need more information to help you clearly understand your options. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
Hi, this is Melissa Hoisington, Regional Crisis Director from Volunteer Behavioral Health. Disasters can affect everything in your life, including your emotional health. Help is available during these uncertain times. The Tennessee Recovery Project is a free, supportive resource for adults and children who have experienced the effects of natural or human-caused disasters. Specialists are available for counseling by phone or in person. For free, confidential service, please call 833-954-2424. The hotline is open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Move forward with the help from the Tennessee Recovery Project.
We welcome you back from the second break into the Sumner County Sports Podcast. So far, we've heard from Gallatin head coach Chad Watson, who dropped some knowledge about his football team. We've gone over the topics for today's show, but let's really dive into them before we go into our last break. And that is, let's just talk about the Friday Night Live show that we are featuring on Main Street Preps and Main Street Media. So last week was our debut show for this season of Friday Night Live with George Plaster, myself, and Billy Derrick. And essentially what it is 5 hours of the best high school football coverage you can find in the mid-state. Starting at 6 o'clock and running all the way through 11 o'clock, you hear from our army of reporters on the field. So whether you're in Giles County, you're in Robertson County, or anywhere in between, east and west of that, north and south, we've got you covered over here at Main Street Preps. What we like to say is football is back, and so is Main Street Preps with the best high school coverage in all the middle Tennessee, and we firmly believe that. So last week, like I said, was our debut episode. We're coming back this week on location at Father Ryan for their huge game, and so we're super excited about that, about this project, and we really implore you and encourage you to check us out. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, we've got reporters calling in from several games across the mid-state. We've got scoreboard updates. We even had head coach Kevin Creasy call in last week from Oakland. So hopefully we're getting more coach shows. So a lot to get into on Friday Night Live. It's a lot of fun. And if you're not at a game, I encourage you to check us out. You can check us out on all our social platforms, whether that be Twitter or Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube under Main Street Nashville. And then you can also download our TV app. It's on the Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV and Main Street Media TV. And again, that will include not only Friday Night Live, but our entire catalog and library of shows and podcasts. So make sure you check that out if you're not at a game, or even if you're at a game and you want to know what's going on, you can check us out from 6 to 11 every Friday night on Friday Night Live. Also, in this week's headline is our Pick'em column, which you can check out on mainstreetpreps.com. And essentially what that is I just go through all of the county games and I pick and choose who I think is going to win with a small little write-up. Started doing this back in 2015 when I worked in Robertson County, and it slowly grew some popularity. Obviously, there are people that agree. There's people that disagree. It can make some people upset if I don't pick their favorite team to win. But as I always say, I'm not picking to please the crowd. I'm picking who I think is going to win each and every week. There's no, ill will toward any teams or anything like that. I'm just trying to have the best record that I possibly can, because here at Main Street Preps within the sports staff, it's a bragging rights thing. It's, if you have the best record, then you get to kind of puff your chest out a little bit. So that's really all I'm going for each and every time I release a pick'em column. So this week is no different. I've released that on mainstreetpreps.com. You can see the schedule behind me as I kind of move out of the way a little bit. You've got Liberty Creek at Portland on Thursday night. You've got White House versus Greenbrier on Thursday. And then the Friday slate of games, Hendersonville versus South Warren, Kentucky, Westmoreland at Macon County. You've got Beach at Henry County, Gallatin at Blackman, Pope Prep versus Pure Youth Alliance. And I believe that's in Station Camp on the road at Hillsboro. Don't want to forget about the Bison. So a lot to get into my pick'em column, and I encourage you to check that out on mainstreetpreps.com. And then last item of note before we go into our final break, just want to go over week one scores a little bit. I think there's no bigger surprise, not only in Sumner County, but in the mid-state, the Gallatin defeating Mount Juliet. And I was able to get into that a little bit with Chad Watson, but what a win for Gallatin to open the season. A lot of people thought it would be tough to win your first two games, potentially be 0-2 going into their week 3 matchup with West Creek on a Thursday night. But at minimum, they're going to be 1-1 at worst, potentially be 2-0. And if they can get past Blackman, you would think they stand a really good chance to beat West Creek. No disrespect to the Coyotes. And that would set up a 3-0, two 3-0 teams, two potential 3-0 teams with Station Camp at Gallatin for their Mayor's Cup here in a couple weeks. And boy, I know everybody would really like that because the gates would be a nice gate, would be a nice money game for both programs. So hopefully that can happen for the city of Gallatin, and they could pack out Station Camp High School in a couple weeks when those two teams meet for the Mayor's Cup. So that's it for our top headlines for this week. We're going to jump into our final break, but when we come back, we're going to close out the show with our Player of the Week award. And of course, I'm going to shoot it into the basket, which I've got to take the background off so I can show you because I'm at the house today, not in studio. So, but real quick, let's go ahead and jump into our final break. But when we come back, we're going to hand out Player of the Week and close out the show as well.
The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. Is we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're gonna have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. One area I can help with is if you are newly or nearly retired, or maybe have changed jobs and have an old 401k account. You may need more information to help you clearly understand your options. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
Hi, this is Melissa Hoisington, Regional Crisis Director from Volunteer Behavioral Health. Disasters can affect everything in your life, including your emotional health. Help is available during these uncertain times. The Tennessee Recovery Project is a free, supportive resource for adults and children who have experienced the effects of natural or human-caused disasters. Specialists are available for counseling by phone or in person. For free, confidential service, please call 833-954-2424. The hotline is open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Move forward with the help from the Tennessee Recovery Project.
Welcome back into the Sumner County Sports Podcast. Of course, I am your host, Zach Womble. And as we get ready to wrap up this week's episode, we wanted to hand out our Player of the Week award. But before we do that, I encourage you all to head on over to mainstreetpreps.com, where we are doing a company-wide Player of the Week award. It's our first year doing this. You can vote for your respective player from each county. So what it is there's 10 counties that we cover. So just like Sumner, there's Robertson, Wilson, so on and so forth. And there's one player that represents each county. and there's 2 at-large bids for Players of the Week for any county. And so this week, Sumner County's Zakian Brinkley from Gallatin was nominated to represent Sumner County. And conversely, he is also our Sumner County Sports Podcast Player of the Week. Brinkley was a monster on Friday night for the Green Wave, just a junior, but the big fullback rushed for 194 yards and 3 touchdowns in the victory. Gallatin rushed for over 400 yards on the game, including over 100 for Luke Cook and near 100 performance for Jaheim Merriweather, but none bigger than Zakian Brinkley for Gallatin, running for 194 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Zakian Brinkley, not only the Sumner County Sports Podcast Player of the Week, he's our Gallatin News Player of the Week and potentially the Main Street Preps Player of the Week. Again, head on over to mainstreetpreps.com where you have until Wednesday to vote for Zakian Brinkley out of Gallatin for the Main Street Preps Player of the Week. And that will do it for today's episode of the Sumner County Sports Podcast. As you know, when I'm at home, I like to close out the show with a little basket toss. And I've got this filter on the background. I wonder if I can transition this thing to not pause so that I can change out the background. I'll continue to filibuster, continue to kill some time. Hey, there we go. I hope there was no delay in that transition, but you see the basket, so you know what time it is. I missed shooting on this thing last couple of weeks. I got a piece of paper, so let's see if I can't make it for old time's sake. Oh, no good. I had to toss it out a little hard. It was just one sheet. Wasn't very heavy, but nonetheless, I missed it. And that's going to do it for today's episode. As always, I will see you on the sidelines, but if not, I'll see you right back here next week at 9 o'clock for the Sumner County Sports Podcast.